Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. I want to cover the June 9th baseball game, San Francisco Giants visiting New York Mets. In this game, the first no-hitter of the 2015 MLB season occurred, and it was completely rigged, completely scripted. Anybody who saw the final pitch of the game knows what a joke it is. Whenever a team is facing a no-hitter, the batters want to break up that no-hitter more than anything. The last pitch of the game was a well-grooved fastball right down the middle. It was a home run pitch, and the batter didn't even swing at it. He just let it go in for strike three. This man became the first person to pitch a no-hitter and strike out the final three batters, all in a giant joke, which follows the same number I documented for the World Series win of the San Francisco Giants last year. And if you watch this video, it will all become very clear what's going on. Heston, the pitcher who threw the no-hitter, wears the number 53. Last year, the Giants won the World Series on October 29th, 2014. 10 plus 29 is 39, plus 14 more is 53. The head coach of the team is Bochy, a name with 53 Gematria. And the Giants have now won 3 of the last 5 World Series. We'll talk more about this year's coming World Series and how this game connects. Notice this was thrown in New York at the Mets. Once upon a time, the Giants used to also be in New York before they moved to San Francisco, just like the Dodgers. Both those teams moved from New York to California. All right, now let's go through the rest of this, Truth Seeker. The Giants had their first game this year, April 6th, the 96th day of the year. Important number in Freemasonry. The word Freemason equals 96th. April 6th was the 96th day of the year. 4/6. From April 6th to tonight, the night of the no-hitter, was 64 days. Sort of like the date, April 6th. Also notice that the date today, June 9th, is written 9/6 in some parts of the world. In the United States, we usually write it 6/9, but a lot of the world writes it 9/6, like the word Freemason, also like the 96th day, the day that the season began. The pitcher is also 6'4" tall and became 6 wins, 4 losses tonight. 6-4, 64 days later, he stands 6'4", wears the number 53. Again, the Giants also earned their 33rd win tonight, a number of significance, 33. The Mets are at 31 wins. Their hot start, they've cooled off. 31 to 33 are the ranging degrees of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. The no-hitter involved 11 strikeouts, and he also hit 3 batters, the first no-hitter to ever hit 3 batters in the game. Also, check out his name, Truth Seeker. His name is Chris Heston. This name in Pythagorean Gematria sums to 55 with the S exception 75. Chris with simple English Gematria also sums to 57. And why this is interesting is because World Series has a Pythagorean Gematria of 57, S exception to front S 66, double S exception 75, a lot like the name Chris Heston. His name is a lot like the World Series. Also, again, he wore the number 53, the number that tied into last year's World Series. Now, Truth Seeker, I already have a video on this. This year's coming World Series will be the 111th World Series. New York in simple English Gematria sums to 111. If there were a World Series Yankees versus Mets this year, it would be the 15th time in the history of Major League Baseball that 2 New York teams faced each other in the World Series. They call that a Subway Series. It would be the 15th of those in the year 15. These are his life numbers. He's born April 10th, 1988. Currently 27 years old. Important number in MLB. MLB has a simple English gematria of 27. And Truth Seeker, just to show you that these numbers are no joke in baseball, give me 1 second while this loads up right here. League baseball. Uh-oh, my computer needs to think. All right, Major League Baseball Truth Seeker. Whoa, we're having some problems here. Major League Baseball sums to 162. If you're a baseball fan, you know already why this is significant. Major League Baseball has a 162 game season. When I was a kid, I used to wonder how that number was picked. It seems so arbitrary. It seems so long. Notice also that 162 is 1 plus 6 plus 2 equals 9, a numerology of 9 innings in a baseball game. But it's no coincidence, Truth Seeker. In Jewish gematria, the end sums to 162. Think about that. You're at the end of the 162nd game. Also, Truth Seeker, with regards to his life number of 121, New York's establishment date is 7/26/1788 or 7/26/88. 7 plus 26 is 33, plus 88 more is 121. So New York also has a connection to that 121 number. In English gematria, Revelation sums to 726. New York was established 7/26. New York has lots of Revelation connections. I just like to document this kind of stuff, Truth Seeker. This was from May 5th. There was this picture up of the Giants with this 53-second video, 53 seconds. I just recognize that kind of stuff right away just from paying attention. I remember that was the big number last year during the World Series. With regards to 96, we talked about how the baseball season began on the 96th day. Today's date numerology, the date of the first no-hitter has a connection to 9/6. Right now, Brian Sabean, the general manager of the Giants, he's been in charge since the year 96. Most successful general manager in that time. Again, just here's a look at those numbers. Check out this Paul Kitterman thing here, Truth Seeker. Do you remember this story? This is from the NFL, but it connected to the MLB last year. It was reported that a 53-year-old fan, Paul Kitterman, was missing for a week after a football game, but then he was found 110 miles away from where he was missing. Last year was the 110th World Series, Truth Seeker. He was found 110 miles from where he was missing. 53 years old, and look, Paul Kitterman in Pythagorean Gematria sums to 53. Again, this story came out just hours before the World Series final game was played, on the date with 53 numerology. You see how hard they hoax us? This is what I want you to wake up to. Our news is all fake, all part of this big numbers circus. The people running this must be laughing so hard. Oh, Truth Seeker, now this piece, I'm going to blow your mind even more. Okay, so last year, the 110th World Series was between the Giants and the Kansas City Royals. And what's interesting is that on the new bridge built at the Hoover Dam, the man working on the bridge that supposedly died was named Sherman Jones. Sherman Jones. And what's interesting is this name Sherman Jones goes back to baseball history. There was a player who played for the Giants, the Reds, and the New York Mets in his career. And in his career, he racked up a total of 53 strikeouts. He pitched 110 third career innings. And what's interesting is that he played for the Giants, and he became the mayor of Kansas City later in his life. And last year's World Series was the Giants and Kansas City Royals. And this guy whose career pitched 110 third innings, 53 strikeouts, the numbers of last year's World Series. Are you following what I'm showing? I mean, I know this sounds bizarre, but it shows you just how crazy all this stuff is lined up. Here's a thought, Truth Seeker. I've been wrong once. So many numbers lined up with the dam and this past Super Bowl, Super Bowl 49. I thought something might happen to the dam around the time of Super Bowl 49. Well, check this out. The dam really synced up last year with the 110th World Series. Go back to September 11th, 2001. The World Series was between New York and Arizona. New York and Arizona are the only two states with a Gematria of 39, the only two. That was the World Series right at the beginning of the post 9/11 era. Remember, it was delayed because of 9/11. Perhaps that's all part of this clue, and perhaps the Hoover Dam really is the next 9/11, as so many people suspect, myself included. And perhaps this year's World Series will have a connection to when that happens. Something's up here with all this coding between the dams and the games and what's still going on. All right, not to get too tangential, scare away the sports fans who got here, I want to show you something. With regards to that number 53 being all over tonight's no-hitter and all over last year's World Series, the first Subway Series, remember this is when two New York teams play, was in 1921 between the Giants and the Yankees. Back then it was a longer series. The Giants won it 5-3. 5-3. Is it a sign? Is it a sign? I really think so, and I won't be the least bit surprised if we have the 15th Subway Series in the year 15, as rigged as all this crap is. The Yankees have been in... You know what? Let's just look this up real quick, True Seeker. I think they've been in 41 World Series to date, the New York Yankees, and won 27, like MLB. Let me check. This is going to blow all of our minds. The Yankees have been in so many World Series. Hold on. Okay. So they've won 27 and they've been in 40. If the Yankees went this year, they would have been in their 41st World Series, and they might very well face the Mets. If it's the Giants again, I would die too. But then it wouldn't be a Subway Series because the Giants are now in San Francisco. But my goodness, that almost would make sense too with that movie San Andreas coming out talking about earthquakes from California to New York. San Andreas equals 96. Like the connection to today's no-hitter. So, hey, if I had to make picks for the World Series, I think right now I would bet Mets, Yankees, possibly Giants, Yankees. All right, Truth Seeker. Hope you learned something new. If you don't think those sports are rigged, think again. Till next time. Encore, Truth Seeker. One last point. I wanted to show you that pitcher who synced up with last year's World Series pitched in the 61 World Series against the Yankees. That was 53 years before last year's World Series, to go with all the other 53s and his 53 strikeouts. Again, sports are super duper rigged. Until next time.